They are rage, brutal, without mercy. But you will be worse. Rip and tear, until it is done.
Bit of late response, but no, fuck it. This is legitimately kind of annoying now. The whole situation with South Africa, and for the record, not only do I think the South African whites should be evacuated, I also think the few sane black ones there who aren't sociopathic assholes just jerking off at the thought of murdering white people and taking their land. Never mind the fact they'll be starving to death. But anyway, the ones who aren't in that crowd, yeah, they should also be evacuated. As far as I'm concerned, when these farmers are gone and these farms fail to yield the food these fuckers need, as far as I'm concerned, me and every other sane person should be watching South Africans starve to death for this bullshit they've done. Because they chose to be stupid. They not only chose to be stupid, I am not going to have much sympathy for them when it turns out they are all dying horribly, because, fuck these people. And if anyone who's coming to this gonna say, well, you're just an outsider, no. From the South Africans I haven't interacted with, there is nothing but contempt thrown the way of that country. More so because of their corrupt as fuck and incompetent government that is so inefficient they have rolling fucking blackouts. It's the ones I've talked to do anyway. So, kiss my ass. It's kind of just asinine to me that all this is going, and for the record, I do not believe for a fact most of these fuckers who are mad about actually give a shit. It's just Trump's doing it. Which is kind of ghoulish to me because it basically says you're willing to overlook genocide and mass murder if it's politically inconvenient for you or convenient to do so. Now, fuck you. I don't need much proof to believe that this is happening beyond the fact this is something you have been hearing about for years if you run in the right circles and pay attention to the right news. Also, it doesn't help by the fact that the Googler Gestapo, those schmucks, is full of evil people or those who would enable evil that gladly will say things, well, this is just a conspiracy theory. Okay, first of all, dipshit, that does not make me think this is not happening. In fact, it makes me think you are covering for it. Because at this point, I don't hear you say conspiracy theory. I look at this the same way I look at the dipshits who call the Great Replacement a conspiracy theory. You're not saying conspiracy theory anymore. You're saying spoilers. Then again, one of the few conspiracy theories have probably turned out to be just spoilers. I'm still waiting for the day when we fully learn what happened to JFK. And which conspiracy theories got that right, and which one should be going out in the street going, I called it! I called it! I called it! Anyway, the fact you're doing this does not make me think it's not happening. In fact, it makes me think it's happening more, because this is the same phylum of fuckwits who also tried to say there was no interference in the election. We did not fuck with anyone. We did not unjustly ban people or unjustly... you fuckers have unjustly fucked with YouTubers for the most mundane of reasons. Replete with a false copyright strike, you fuckwits. Anyway. And anyone who tries to call themselves, I'm looking at these people who call this stuff a conspiracy theory. I'd look at this similar to how I would call anyone who considers themselves a knowing one on history, a knowledgeable person, also admit that they have a gender studies degree. That is a good way for me to make me see you as a crazy person or an idiot. Because those things are fucking useless. I don't care what you say, they are useless. But, they are fucking useless. And if you're going to try to tell me that they're transferable, you can get any job you want in the most pointless of places. Like a bowling alley. Then again, these people who are... Oh, and also I should add... to the people who are going to tell you this is a conspiracy, while you're at it, why don't you just find the highest point possible, like a mountain, and before you jump to your death head first, why don't you just scream, I love to spout bullshit and I hate it when people call me out on it. Hey, Jesus Christ. And this isn't anything, and like I said, this is something that's been happening for a while. You had that fuckwit, what's his fucking, hang on, I actually wrote that part down. Julius Malema, that little fuckwit fagaloon, has said, "I'm not calling for the murder of white people yet." He stressed that "yet" part in an interview that he allowed to leave the country. And yeah, it has been the groundwork of a state-sanctioned mass murder for I don't even know how long. But yeah, it's always been kind of a pain in the ass. And these Killmonger wannabes screaming that the fleeing Africans don't screaming over the people just leaving Africa because they don't want to be murdered. Yeah, it reeks to me like a disingenuous dipshit. Though you do have a piece of shit named Cyril Ramaphosa calling them cowards, which makes me believe these Afrikaners even more, because that doesn't sound like a man calling out a lie or saying that you're just taking advantage. No, that sounds like a Nazi party member mad that Juden don't want to be rounded up and put in camps. And fuck him. Like, and if this is being done, if the people in South Africa are trying to do this, like, not even directly maybe, but just have some stupid desire to, I don't know, regain the dignity of their country. First of all, your country was full of people who were still hunter-gatherers when whites showed up. Now, fuck you. Also, if this is just like your way of saying, like, the only way we will regain our dignity is to murder every one of our colonizers, well, first of all, your colonizers are long dead. So you're killing a bunch of strangers for nothing. Second of all, if this is the rule for all former colonies, which, by the way, my country didn't do that. We were a colony. We kicked the British out. That was it. You're doing the same bullshit the Frenchies and the Ruskies did. And yeah, that worked out so well for them, didn't it? To the point that I have to ask, did the person who come up with this rule, I have to ask, are they either French or some way related to the Marquis de Sade? Because that's the level of retardation this sounds like. Jesus Christ. Because what's been going on in like I said, this has been a build-up, and sorry if I'm all over the place. I only have like a bulletin, but here, yeah, no, they've not even been doing this for a long-ass time. They've been instituting laws to fuck with people if they are from the wrong race. Like, think the black codes we used to have in America, which, by the way, if you're a cult of one of the cult of Lincoln dipshits, kindly fuck off, because this is the same shit your mendacious messiah agreed with every step of the way before the top-headed tyrant ascended to the rank of presidentialness. But yeah, no, they have made laws to fuck with people every step of the way. Like, you say you hate racism, you're supporting racists. Like, you call everyone and their mother a fucking racist because they don't agree with your bullshit. But then you have legitimate racists who have vigilante sickos going into homes, killing entire fucking families who were for the crime of being white. Like, killing them is the least horrible thing they've done to these people. Like, shooting them in the head is probably the nicer things they've done. Like, there have been so many fucking stories and reports that have come out of the people who've been murdered there. Of a little girl who was snuggled by 3 grown-ass men. Probably 4. Not only did they do this, when they realized she was still alive, they wrapped her up in newspaper and set her on fucking fire. One girl was crucified on her own fucking table where her parents and her would eat dinner, and was being violated by them after being crucified. Not far from where her parents were gargling down their blood as they died. That was probably one of the last things those poor people saw before they fucking died. Before the lights went out. So yeah, no, fuck you, lefties who are supporting this. And fuck you, righties, too. Like, anyone who's, like, doing this, you are hypocrites of the highest fucking order. And the fact you are calling it a conspiracy theory that we say you're trying to replace all the white people here, well, you had no problem laying in Mexicans, blacks, just anyone who, as long as they weren't fucking white, or they agree with you, mainly if they weren't white. But the second it looks like some whites might get in legally through the fucking normal process, you get more butt hurt with a prolapsed asshole than, I don't know, little Karibo when people call him out on his bullshit. That, or rather media when they had to admit that they should have kept their fucking mouth shut about Star Wars 3, which to that all I can say is, oh, that's a shame. And to anyone who tries to come to this and say, also, I know I keep saying to anyone, but yeah, no, fuck it, I'm going to be addressing any response I think I'll get. If you're trying to tell me that the South African government denying this is proof that, like, no, dumbass, it's not. Like, do you think if inmate one second. I actually have his name here, although his actual name I can't say because it's Polish, and God only knows the Polarks have really crazy names. But if you think that if inmate 4859, do you think if he had escaped, when he escaped and told his government what was happening with Auschwitz, because he escaped from fucking out, like he snuck in, then snuck out and told them. They didn't believe him, for the record. They thought it was bullshit. They're like, okay, even for those Krauts, this is a bit extreme. Like, it's hard for us to believe. So they didn't believe him. And now, let's say hypothetically they did believe him, and they did make a public spectacle of making sure all the world knew of the horrible things they were doing ahead of when we would eventually find out. Do you think Germany would be like, you're fucking right, we're doing that? Especially if it would have been to their benefit to keep it secret a little bit longer? Like, seriously, you guys are really stupid sometimes. Actually, no, I know this. It's kind of like the right. The right side of the aisle, especially the mainstream Republicans, they're a bit like law enforcement in the Saline County when the Boys on the Tracks case happened. They did everything they could to drag that case back as far as possible to where nothing could be done. But yeah. But I guess maybe I'm being a little too harsh here. I mean, an establishment, especially in the West, enabling mass genocide and murder in Europe or anywhere else is nothing new. Just look at the Holodomor. Walter Duranty not only did basically provide cover fire for Stalin, some of the things the commies were doing there, he lied about the Holodomor. And the one guy who did actually report on it had his reputation slandered by that douchebag, who was given a Pulitzer Prize, which the Pulitzer Bureau has still refused to revoke. But then again, that is another reason why I think John Milius was right when he said that accolades are meaningless, because it's handed out by worthless people. Jesus. And I would call the people bitching about this cheap-ass wine, but that's too generous. It's more like mucus-laced diarrhea and piss wine. Anyway. This is not something that is a lie you can make go away. This is not a lie you will be getting away with, because, and yes, all these African white guys, and women and children, especially the children, should be, wait, what the fuck am I saying? I'm starting to sound like I think of the children's. But yeah, no, they should not only be evacuated. Again, I want the blacks from there also evacuated, because they are, or at least the sane ones who aren't out of their fucking mind, chanting, kill the Boer over and over. Kill the white man. And if I'm coming off as fake, I'm not trying to, but it really is infuriating. And I was pretty pissed when I already heard the news about people getting butthurt over this. And it's gotten just more. So the rage you're seeing now is quite honestly trifling compared to what I was feeling before. Because it kind of showed to me how hollow and vacuous and full of new and exciting degrees of shit the left is. Especially the ones who say, like, we need to help people in Mexico and immigrants. Like, why? You only care when they benefit you. And also, some of you fuckwits advocate for things that have done nothing to help Mexico. So now, fuck you. Cry havoc and unleash the furies on the South African government and the dipshits who have been enabling, because this is how you know evil is not the worst thing in the world. Stupid people are, because it's stupid people who are enabling evil. And that's about all I can say on the subject. I just find it kind of aggravating that this is being done. I thought we lived in an age where this kind of shit was supposed to be horrible. Like, these people would literally rather turn a blind eye to evil. Like, what was that old saying? All it takes for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Well, all it takes also is for the masses, the stupid people who, for their own convenience, will gladly turn a blind eye and do nothing. And that's all I have to say on it. Like, have a nice day. Yema oh hit and all that crap.